The Real Nature of Man, Part 3. What is the force which manifests itself through the body? It is obvious to all of us, whatever that force be, that it is taking particles up, as it were, and manipulating forms out of them, the human body. None else comes here to manipulate bodies for you and me. I never saw anybody eat food for me. I have to assimilate it, manufacture blood and bones and everything out of that food. What is this mysterious force? Ideas about the future and about the past seem to be terrifying to many. To many, they seem a mere speculation. We will take the present theme. What is this force which is now working through us? We know how, in old times, in all the ancient scriptures, this power, this manifestation of power, was thought to be a bright substance having the form of this body and which remained even after this body fell. Later on, however, we find a higher idea coming that this bright body did not represent the force. Whatsoever has form must be the result of combinations of particles and requires something else behind it to move it. If this body requires something which is not the body to manipulate it, the bright body, by the same necessity, will also require something other than itself to manipulate it. So that something was called the soul, the Atma in Sanskrit. It was the Atma which, through the bright body, as it were, worked on the gross body outside. The bright body is considered as the receptacle of the mind, and the Atma is beyond that. It is not the mind even, it works the mind, and through the mind, the body. You have an Atma, I have another. Each one of us has a separate Atma and a separate fine body, and through that we work on the gross external body. Questions were then asked about this Atma, about its nature. What is it, Atma, this soul of man, which is neither the body nor the mind? Great discussions followed. Speculations were made. Various shades of philosophic inquiry came into existence. And I shall try to place before you some of the conclusions that have been reached about this Atma. The different philosophies seem to agree that this Atma, whatever it be, has neither form nor shape, and that which has neither form nor shape must be omnipresent. Time begins with mind, space also is in the mind. Causation cannot stand without time. Without the idea of succession, there cannot be any idea of causation. Time, space, and causation, therefore, are in the mind, and as this Atma is beyond the mind and formless, it must be beyond time, beyond space, and beyond causation. Now, if it is beyond time, space, and causation, it must be infinite. Then comes the highest speculation in our philosophy. The infinite cannot be two. If the soul be infinite, there can be only one soul, and all ideas of various souls, you having one soul and I having another, and so forth, are not real. The real man, therefore, is one and infinite, the omnipresent spirit, and the apparent man is only a limitation of that real man. In that sense, the mythologies are true that the apparent man, however great he may be, is only a dim reflection of the real man who is beyond. The real man, the spirit, being beyond cause and effect, not bound by time and space, must therefore be free. He was never bound and could not be bound. The apparent man, the reflection, is limited by time, space, and causation, and is therefore bound. Or, in the language of some of our philosophers, he appears to be bound, but really is not. This is the reality in our souls, this omnipresence, this spiritual nature, this infinity. Every soul is infinite, therefore, there is no question of birth and death. Some children were being examined. The examiner put them rather hard questions, and among them was this one: why does not our earth fall? He wanted to evoke answers about gravitation. Most of the children could not answer at all. A few answered that it was gravitation or something. One bright little girl answered it by putting another question: where should it fall? The question is nonsense. Where should the earth fall? There is no falling or rising for the earth. In infinite space, there is no up or down. That is only in the relative. Where is the going and coming for the infinite? Whence should it come, or and whither should it go? Thus, when people cease to think of the past or future, when they give up the idea of body because the body comes and goes and is limited, then they have risen to a higher ideal. The body is not the real man, neither is the mind, for the mind waxes and wanes. It is the spirit beyond which alone can live forever. The body and mind are continually changing and are, in fact, only names of series of changeful phenomena, like rivers whose waters are in constant state of flux, yet presenting the appearance of unbroken streams. Every particle in this body is continually changing. No one has the same body for many minutes together, and yet we think of it as the same body. So, with the mind, one moment it is happy, another moment unhappy, one moment strong, another weak, an ever changing whirlpool. That cannot be the spirit which is infinite. Change can only be in the limited. To say that the infinite changes in any way is absurd. It cannot be. You can move and I can move as limited bodies. Every particle in this universe is in a constant state of flux. But taking the universe as a unit, as one whole, it cannot move, it cannot change. Motion is always a relative thing. I move in relation to something else. Any particle in this universe can change in relation to any other particle. But take the whole universe as one, and in relation to what can it move? There is nothing besides it. So, this infinite unit is unchangeable, immovable, absolute, and this is the real man. Our reality, therefore, consists in the universal and not in the limited. These are old delusions, however comfortable they are, to think that we are little limited beings constantly changing. People are frightened when they are told that they are universal beings everywhere present. Through everything you work, through every foot you move, through every lip you talk, through every heart you heal.